Everybody?
It's a shit. Okay. So we're live on YouTube. I gotta get off here, right? Yeah, just exit. Yeah. Yep. They show you no more no background. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Apologies for the tardiness. Myself, Cynthia, and Pat are outside trying to help someone who locked their keys in their car. And hopefully we can get her some help. So in the meantime, I am going to call the meeting to order, at 6:36 p.m. and I will ask Maria to call the roll call.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I will be doing roll call, and if you hear your name, just say here or present. Okay, so first we're going with the membership and attendance committee. Julio Pena III.
Present.
Thank you. Pat Lewis. Cynthia Jeffers. Here. Joe Madi. Here. Thank you. Now we're going to call the executive committee. Julio Pena III. Thank you. Pat Lewis. She's here. Cynthia Jeffers, also here. John DeLuca. Thank you. Rosie Motta. Jerry Chan. Sam Sierra. Dan Kaminsky. Okay. Roll call has been called.
Thank you. Welcome to Community Board 7 for our new board members. We're very excited to have you here. My name is Julio Pena III. I am the chair of Community Board 7 for about a month and a half, which we'll talk a little bit later about elections, which are happening in. As I mentioned, Pat, who is our first vice chair, and Cynthia, who is our second vice chair, will be in shortly. They're just doing something outside. I want to introduce also our board staff, if they can give a brief introduction and what they primarily oversee on our board. I'll turn it to Natasha first while Maria fills envelope.
Good evening, everyone. Most of you know who I am. Natasha Cordero, I'm a community associate here at Brooklyn Community Board 7. Basically, emailing you guys, calling you about constituent complaints, putting together our meetings and public hearings, social media postings, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're receiving a bunch of emails from me, but that's my job. Communicate with board members, constituents, and the community at large. And I've been here a long time. Quick story. Was hired here as a temp through Opportunities for Better Tomorrow. And the district manager at that time, her son, before my interview, he says to me, "Do you think I'm tough? Wait, do you?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, like, I'm not nervous enough. This I'm gonna need the mom." And so, yeah, so I've been here, I think 30 years over. So, been a lot of changes, been a lot of growth. Yes, for the new board members, please feel free to reach out to us, call us, email us, and we will happily reply back to you.
Thank you, Natasha. Maria, to now introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Maria Gonzalez. I am the Assistant District Manager at 7. I have been here with the board for over 34 years, so I know the ins and outs of the community board. Um, I do the attendance for board members, notices, letters, calls, if you receive any, it is coming from me. I also manage the budget in the office. I do the purchasing and payment of bills in the office, along with many, many other duties. I've been here, like I said, 34 years, born and raised in Sunset Park. So I was glad to be able to also raise my daughters here. And I'm now working in the community for this many years. So welcome to the board, all of you board members.
Thank you. And before I turn to Cynthia and Pat to introduce themselves, the board had a longtime district manager. You may remember Jeremy Locker. He retired in February after 25 years of service. We're very happy for him, but we're also in the process of hiring a new district manager. And hopefully Pat and or Cynthia will have updates for us later on in May and June. But we will be expecting another third board staff member to be joining us in the next couple of months, hopefully before the end of this year. And I will turn it to introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening, and thank you, and welcome to all the newbies and our regular members who joined us this evening. Thank you so much, it's so appreciated. Again, my name is Pat Ruiz, first vice chair of Board 7. I have been on this board for over 20 years. This may be my last term due to term limits, but you never know. I have served on this board in many capacities. I've been second vice chair, I've been first vice chair before this, secretary, you name it, I've done it. I serve on the membership and attendance committee and many other committees throughout the years, and now I'm not going to go into it. I am currently the president of the Boricua Festival Committee. I became involved in the community board when I was employed at the former Lutheran Medical Center for over 18 years. I was the community relations person there, and because of that, I became involved. And as time went by, it wasn't just about my job. It was about me wanting to serve this community, and I've been doing it, good and bad, etc. Because there are the good days and there are bad days, and we all know that. Be prepared for long meetings, not always, but there are times that they can be long. I'm not going to get into attendance or anything like that until the time comes, but welcome. And I want to give a special welcome back to Melissa Del Valle Ortiz. I'm explicitly saying welcome back because she was a member of this board a number of years ago and left to work for Congresswoman Velasquez, but now is back. So welcome back, Melissa, and welcome to all of you.
Cynthia.
I also serve on the Marie and Hine board and other boards throughout the community, and I am a resident now of Bay Ridge, just to be open. I do not live in Sunset Park anymore. Thank you.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Cynthia Fields Shepard, and I currently serve as the second vice chair for Community Board 7, as well as the chair of Public Safety, which is one of our committees. I am born and raised in Sunset Park, actually in the same house I was born in. So long legacy in Sunset Park, involved in many based organizations in the community. I work for New York City Yes, proud. And I've been on the board since 2019. I want to welcome all of you and I want to thank you for stepping up and volunteering to do it. It is a responsibility we all should take very seriously. It's very easy to complain. Sorry, Melissa, it's volunteer. Yeah. So it's very important. It's a very easy to talk to your neighbors or your friends and complain about what's happening. And it's very different to step up and try to make a difference in the community, which is what we try to do here as board members. As part of this community board, we're involved in a lot of things that take place, everything from giving out liquor licenses to rezoning. Some of our things are a little bit bigger issues than others, but there's no issue that's too small for the community board to look at. Most important thing and advice I can give you is always look into everything with an open mind, and your personal opinions, while they matter only to you at the long end, we're here for the greater good and impact that something does for the community. So with that in mind, I urge you not only to come as you're obligated to the board meetings, also to committee meetings, as several of them. Try to pick ones that pique your interest, things that you want to do, and also to get involved in other community-based things that are happening so that you're aware of what's going on. So whether you live or work in the community, you know what's happening here at the community. So welcome.
And the microphone, sure.
Julio mentioned that we are in the process of hiring a new district manager. Cynthia and I and John DeLuther and Jerry Chan, who are not here, Sam Sierra, are that hiring committee. And we will have some news at the May 20th meeting. So just so you're aware, things are a little different. So get ready for transition. That's the key word for this year and union board members, transition. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to get a little introduction about me. I have been on the board since 2016, and lifelong resident of Sunset Park, born on 56th Street. I now live across the street from the park, on 40th Street. My day job, I work for the Chinese American Planning Council, running after-school programming at FDR High School in Borough Park, and have spent over 20 years working with high school students or middle school students in after-school settings. On the board, my particular issues and interests are education, housing, and transportation. Probably one of our more busy committees. And I, like Cynthia, I'm really excited for you all to be here. We'll talk a little bit more about like our committee structure and what that is. But first I want to do some quick introductions for our new board members. And we'll start with Cam.
So happens when you sit in the front row.
Right.
Hi, my name is Cam Diaz. I have been coming to the meetings for about, I would say, roughly 2 to 3 years before I decided to become a board member. I'm really excited to be a part of this because it's a part of our community and it's important for all of us to be a part of the change. When I'm not, I used to try to create change. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am a New York City employee. I'm a teacher's assistant currently. I am a Sunset Park resident. I have worked for the last 41 years out of, we don't need to mention my age. But it's been a long time. But anyway, I'm really happy to be here and I'm hoping to know each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cam. Welcome. She was also a public member before she became a board member.
Hi, Ashley. I'm a resident of Terrace, so far.
I am excited to be here, excited to be part of this. Happy to have a place to practically and productively put a lot of the anguish, I think we all probably feel, frustration, and also just keeping up with neighborhood, kind of moving it out of the group chat into a public space, really exciting. In my daytime, I am an evaluator with the DOE, particularly working with after school spaces. In the last few years, I've just started to work with this district with community schools and the students. So I'm excited to bring kind of just across all those spaces where I live, work, and now support community. Welcome, Ashley. George.
Hi, I'm George Cardona. I've been in the area since like 1978, and I've seen a lot of different things. I've been involved in a lot of things. I'm very vocal, and but I try to be fair. And I think it's important to have people with difference of opinion. About 6 years ago, Julio, I was in a meeting. He brought up a point that nobody else thought of, and that's healthy. And you got different people thinking with different ideas that I may not think of, and we have to encourage that. So thank you for giving me a chance, and we go forward.
Thanks, George. Melissa.
I'm just a quiet little mouse here today. And, no, in all serious, I really want to bring a new energy specifically around veterans, persons with disabilities, and seniors. I don't think that our community has really embraced them or really spotlighted them for a long time. I myself have been in the shadows of the veteran community, and as a veteran, United States military, I think it's long overdue. And as many of you know, one of the reasons why we have all of the accessibility here in this room is because I had initially spearheaded the request for an accessible committee to our community board, and that's what brought us and a long way coming into providing these services to our disabled community here in Sunset Park. So, and now as a senior citizen myself, I would like to also make sure that we continue to have that conversation and amplify the voices for Sunset. That's it.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Marius Williams. You can call me Mars at the planet. I'm just really excited to get involved into local government. I think that's where a lot of the most important things that impact everyday life are really happening. Between the presidential elections, it's really local government that's keeping things moving. In my daytime, I'm a lawyer. I'm an attorney. I work on infrastructure and energy projects. So yeah, I have interest in landmarks, land use, education, transit, and I'm just excited to get started. I live in Sunset.
And also Sunset Park. John is not new, but
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is John DeLuper. I am the secretary of the board. I'm also vice chair of transportation committee. I've been a member since 2021, and I've lived in Sunset Park for almost 15 years now. By day, I'm a librarian at CUNY's Lehman College, and I welcome everyone here and welcome back to everyone who's coming back.
I believe it's
thank you, John.
I'm gonna go for once, just working my way this way.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tomas Carita. I'm a lifelong resident of Sunset Park. I was born on 502 39th Street and attended middle school here in Prague. My brother attended Dewey, and now I moved to 58th Street and 4th Avenue. But still here. And yeah, I mean, a big piece of why this is very important to me is because specifically around immigration, a lot of the things that are occurring in this community, I've been knocked on, my door has been knocked on multiple times, and it's just a little frustrating for it to happen here. On my daytime, I manage the strategic communications team at DOT, so I usually do just all the advertising and stuff, but
Yeah, when you just started.
Um,
Guess what you're talking
but I mean, again, it hits close to home. I wanted to be a little more active, within my community. Prior to this, I would do a lot of, help with neighbors and we create like group chats to like alert when things were going on. And so I wanted a more kind of in-person way and with the way to go. So.
Not a new member, but
Hi, everybody. My name is Esteban Chavez. This is my fourth year on the board. I am the vice chair of the Parks and Environment Committee. I'm also on Education, Health and Services and Economic Development and Waterfront. Small. In my daytime, I oversee operations at a Parks Conservancy in North Brooklyn. That's the Parks and Environment Committee. And yeah, just excited for all you people. Yes, and then me and Dan Aguilar, a small volunteer group called Clean Up Sunset Park, where we do community cleanups and tree care. And we have an event this Saturday from 10 to 12 on 24th and 5th. We'll be doing tree care with big reuse if anybody is interested.
and last but certainly not least, we have our OG channel. Well, folks, I want to welcome everybody. And I'm Joan Duffy. I've been here since 1992. And it's been an absolute pleasure to serve and to help. And my roots go back to Sunset Park, Windsor Terrace, to 1898. My grandfather built houses here in Sunset Park. Unfortunately, the house that I lived in is now a condominium. What else is new? My great uncle, who built his house, the terrace, is now a playground. So I have a lot of history here. My first committee I chaired was the Public Safety Committee. And we dealt with the gangs primarily on 42nd Street. That meeting I will forget because it was held in OPH basement. And what we had to tell the boys, this is the last stop though. It was the Latin Kings. I don't know how those really reacted to it, but they were very respectful at that time. To me. I've chaired the Parks Committee for quite a while. I was also second vice chair at one time. My greatest accomplishment, and I'm going to say accomplishment, was chairing. Unfortunately, there's no room for schools today. But I chaired the school site selection committee. My first school is Sunset Park School. And I worked hand in hand with the school construction authority. And we have 6 schools to our credit, new schools. One was not built, but that's St. Michael's. Then I worked with the priests. We working with the priests and the school has a 59-year lease. The toughest one was the old Sigley precinct that's across the street from St. Michael's.
And because that building is landmarked, in order for that school to be, that site to become a school, the school construction authority at that time had to agree to keep the turret and the front of the school, of the building. Unbeknown to me, one of my neighbors, who I am the president longstanding of my condominium, which is 8 buildings and 69 units. And one of my homeowners who accompanied me here, the Parks Committee, the last Parks Committee. She's an architect, and her firm redesigned the school across the small world. Yes, small world. So I urge everyone to put your heart and soul into our community, because there's no people better than the people that we serve. It has been an absolute honor, and I've been reappointed this year, and I have 2 more years, being that we are term limited. We had term limits started in the year 2000.
2019.
2019.
Was on 2019, that started 2020. Two, 4 2-year terms, that's 8 years. If nothing is done overnight, you have to work for it, but it's rewarding. When you see that site across the street, that was the old state precinct, that was there, what, 50 odd years?
Yeah.
50 odd years. And from what my neighbor, her name is Jay Hart, when she told me how difficult it was to come up with a plan, being that that building was so corroded. But they did a beautiful job, and I am delighted. Welcome, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, John.
So, that was from the other side.
Oh, one more thing. There is no people better than our staff.
Amen.
Thank you, John.
That is a gift. These 2 girls, and I'm still gonna call them girls because they're girls. They work their off. And knowledge you can't get better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone should have a copy of our member handbook. This is like the CB7 Bible. For a couple of years ago now, we started working on this and making sure that we update it every year or so. This is essentially the toolkit to how you can be the best Community Board 7 member possible. It talks about our structure, committees, how to ask a question, a little bit about Robert's Rules of Order, form requirements, which we talked about a lot, and pretty much the how-to of our board. We'll also send this to you in an electronic format because there are some links here that I think would be helpful. And so this is a really great toolkit to help you understand and navigate our board. Oftentimes at our monthly board meetings, things can go pretty quickly. And many of them are procedural things. So this, I think, will give you a little bit of insight as to how and why, how to vote, how to identify if you feel you may have a conflict of interest, um, how we go about how you speak during a meeting. If we're voting on something and you feel like it can be better, how to amend a vote or motion. I think it's a really great resource for you to go through. So please go through it. We'll also send, like I said, send you an electronic version. Um, I also want to talk a little bit about our committees. CB7 has, including the executive committee, we have 10 committees. Essentially, all of the action and things that happen around board have to go through committees. Um, Oftentimes, at our monthly board meeting, we may start a conversation and there may be a lot of questions or back and forth on a specific topic. Me personally as chair, try to avoid those conversations because a lot of it is and should be discussed at committees. And if we feel like, if I feel like we have not deliberated something enough at a committee, we'll often bring it back to the committee so that people can further deliberate. Um, but all of the substance, issues, hearing from city agencies, hearing from community organizations, hearing about a community issue, all of that happens at committees. So I strongly encourage you, to take the next 2 months. If there's a committee happening, feel free to come in person, feel free to come via Zoom. You just have to make a request with the board office. Get a feel for the committees, get a feel for which committee you feel like would have the most impact for you. And then in June, we will send, I believe it's also in the package too.
Actually, in your packages, there is a stuff and the committee form to fill out.
Yeah, so that you can, make a best guess of what you feel like would be best, that you can best serve on the committee. We ask our board members to serve on at least 2 committees. It's not a hard requirement, it is a strong suggestion, but also because you think about the 2 committees that you join. So for example, I would not say to join, no, I'm gonna reword that. I would say that our business committees are transportation, public safety, and, um, health, education, human services, and parks and environment. So if those things are of interest to you, I would suggest picking one of those so that you don't feel overwhelmed. We are all volunteers. None of us here are getting paid to come and sit in the meeting for 2 hours. So we also want to make sure that you are managing your capacity best. And if you feel like halfway through a year, you're like, wow, this committee is a little bit too much for me, just feel free to email the board and say, I would like to step off this committee or I would like to switch. That's perfectly okay. We want to make sure that you are volunteering your time and it makes sense for you. And if the committee that you chose doesn't feel right, that's totally okay. But we also want to make sure that you feel like you're contributing, and you're participating. So my plug is really get involved in committees, even if you're not on a specific committee and there's a topic happening that you feel like you want to know more about. I implore you to come. You can. All of our committees are live streamed on YouTube. You can watch the replay usually 24 hours after the meeting. So you can hear about what happened, and also be informed. So for example, if the transportation committee met and you weren't able to go in person, but they had a vote, you can watch the recording, learn a little bit about the vote that's happening, and then be better informed when it comes to our monthly board meeting and everyone has to vote on it. You understand a little bit about what happened so you can make your best educated guess. No, not best educated guess, but the best decision you can make with the information you have. So that's a little bit on the committees. In terms of our monthly board meetings, like I said, a lot of it is the good portion of it. The beginning of it is very performative. There are are gonna be motions to adopt an agenda, motions to adopt minutes. We hear from public comments, so anyone, from the community can speak on an issue, before our board, whether it's on the agenda or not, in the first, for 3 minutes at the top of our meeting. We then go into, committee reports, so we'll hear from the committee chairs. If there's a vote coming from the committee, that's where we'll discuss it and talk about it. If there wasn't a vote at committee, then they'll just come and give some highlights about their meeting. After the after the committee reports, we take we do a second roll call, so that's for anyone who missed the first roll call. We do, reports from our elected officials and the representatives. There is a chair's report, which I, as the chair, give to the board. It's usually just updates on either meetings I participated in or things that I want to share. There's a district manager's report, which right now Maria is giving. There is new business, old business and new business. Essentially, old business, if there was something that was discussed at an earlier board meeting that you feel like you may want to provide an update or hear about, that would be old business. New business would be if there's something new that you feel like you want to share to the board, announcements, updates, or, if there is, or community events or things that you feel like you want to share, that would be new business. And then adjournment, which is the end of our meeting. Personally, I like to keep board meetings, our monthly board meetings, 90 minutes to 2 hours. That is my absolute max. If I feel, I've done a good job of keeping them 2 hours. Have I? I have, right? Okay.
That's the whole 2 hours.
No, correct. I think the sweet spot is 90 minutes. I, oftentimes, I probably have never shared this before, but I will start to get a little, frustrated when we go longer than that, because that means a lot of the back and forth are stuff that really should have happened at committee. And when I see that, I will immediately try to move that back to the committee so that we can further discuss. But for the most part, our monthly board meeting should be hearing what we talked about at committees, voting on it, hearing from our elected officials, and, any new or old business.
Can I add to you keeping it at an hour maybe? One of the important things to note is that the longer the meeting is, we lose people. If we lose people, we lose quorum, which means we have to do a roll call. And if we don't have enough people for the vote, it doesn't happen.
Yes, and that's my next point, thank you. Yeah, so, quorum essentially is a majority of the members that are appointed to the board at any given time, present in person for us to conduct official business. So for example, this evening, 1, 2, 3, 4, we do not have quorum on the executive committee, but there is quorum on the membership and attendance committee because there's only 3 people.
And all three are here.
And all 3 are here. And so, as the membership and attendance committee has 3 people, all 3 people are here. If we had a vote tonight that required a quorum, the membership and attendance committee would vote on it. On our board, we have 46 appointed board members, which means quorum is 24.
At the board meeting.
I'm earning my degree today with my math. And quorum essentially is half. We explain it as half plus 1. Because our board is 46, half of 46 is 23. And you have 1, it is 24. So that's 24 board members.
I just want to also make clear that are present at the board meeting.
Exactly. So oftentimes there may be people who have an extending circumstance and can't attend the board meeting and request to join virtually. Those get approved by the chair. Once you get a link, you can join any meeting by Zoom. However, you will not count towards quorum. Under the New York State open meetings law, quorum has to be met by those in person and present, and those attending virtually can participate, can vote, can do everything else, but they do not count towards quorum. So that's very important. Go ahead.
I have a question, regarding virtual
Tasha.
requests. Oh. Okay, regarding the virtual request for board meetings, I send out the agenda a week before the board meeting. And at the end of the letter, it states, should you not be able to, attend the meeting and you want a virtual request, you have to give us that request to us no later than the Tuesday before the board meeting. And I just want to stress this, because I know life happens, things happen. Your babysitter, you have to work late, things happen last minute, so you may have to submit your request the day after, just for purposes to help staff. If something like that happens, I would just probably suggest to have to the office on that Tuesday. If of the board meeting that you're not able to make it in your virtual request, please send a request like 4:30. Because after 5 o'clock, me and Maria are in here setting up, getting everything ready for 6:30. So we're not getting, we don't have that time to like run back and check emails after 5 o'clock. So it's very important to either get into it by that Tuesday deadline or the day of the board meeting before 3 p.m. Just so we can make sure we send it to you as quickly as possible and you're able to yes. Thank you.
Yes, and before I turn it to Pat, I also just want to emphasize, and I'll give you a perfect example. Because when you request to join virtually and email the board, that email gets forwarded to me as the chair. And oftentimes I will not be able, I work full time, and there are times where I can't check my email. And for example, Natasha sent me, I think, 14 emails, between 4 and like 5:30, and those emails will not be read until tomorrow at 3 o'clock because I'm at an event all day tomorrow. So, I strongly encourage you send it in a timely manner because oftentimes if you send it after 3 o'clock, I will not see it. And so, obviously emergencies happen, but when you can, please send it. Cool. And then we'll turn it to Pat to talk about, attendance.
I'm quiet. I am the chair of the membership and attendance committee. We know that things happen in life, that you may not be able to make the monthly board meeting, and you could make it virtually. If you do not attend 3 consecutive meetings, you will be called in. But let me just start from the beginning. After your first 2 consecutive missed monthly board meetings, you will receive a friendly phone call. I initiated that when I became the membership and attendance committee person. I think it's important for people to hear a voice, not an email that says, where are you? Or you didn't come, etc. I believe that things happen. And if you do not want to share the reason of why you're not able to attend, you are welcome to speak to me personally. The ladies will give you my phone number, but it is important that you communicate with us. If you do not respond, then you get the email to let you know that you have missed 2 consecutive meetings. We tried calling you, we left a message. Please get back to us. That comes from Maria and Natasha. If you don't come to the next board meeting, which is the 3rd consecutive board meeting, you will be called to meet with the membership and attendance committee. Again, like I said, there are extenuating circumstances. While some people may not agree with me, there are reasons that because you are out more than 3 times, consecutive time, doesn't mean you'll get kicked off. The borough president does look at the reason, which is why I asked this office to keep track of what those reasons are. We don't have to share everything, but if they come to Julio, they come to the councilwoman, goes to Julio and says, why hasn't this person been at the meeting? Julio will tell them X, Y, and Z. We've had several board members who've been on sick leave, but they attend virtually. And that's the key. Show up. If you're sick, God forbid, someone dies in your family, God forbid, whatever it is, please share it with us. Because we will keep those records. Yes,
term limits, but still, you never know. You reapply, they can keep you, or they won't keep you. But please communicate with us. We are a caring board. We're not mean. You are volunteers and we do understand that you can't. Maybe there's a month that you have a caregiver problem and you gotta watch your kids. Watch it virtually, but ask us in time. Because if you watch it on YouTube and we don't see you, we can't keep up. So just let us know. If you have any questions on attendance, just let me know.
I just want to add to the attendance that being on time is also important because we vote and we try to keep to that hour and a half. Many times the delay of the 90 minutes is because we did not start on time, because we're waiting for folks to come in to actually have quorum. So we have to move things around, making it difficult. Also try your best to stay till the end of the meeting, because simply speaking, if there's something that we need to vote on and you leave, for example, before a committee speaks, in particular, and you will get the agenda beforehand, it says vote required, and it's the fifth committee reporting, and you leave midway through committee 3. By the time committee 5 reports and needs a vote, sometimes they cannot get that vote because people have. So it's super important that you look at the agenda and say, hey, use my time wisely. It comes late, right? But I'm gonna stay because I have to vote. Right? I'm required to vote. That's really important. And you'll notice in all the agendas, they'll say vote expected, vote anticipated, or vote required. And it's really important to make every effort to stay for that vote. Many a times we have been here and we get to that vote and we can't vote because half the folks have left. So that magic number 24 remains for anything that has to be voted on. So just keep that in mind when you're planning and have to do things. The meetings are set pretty much, they never change. So you could put them in your calendar. They are the third Wednesday of the month and they're like clockwork. Unless it's a major holiday, we have changed for Ash Wednesday and the first day of Passover. But pretty much they are always the third Wednesday of the month. They're in this room, so you could calendar them, put them in your calendar as of today. It commence May 20th and June. We're on break for July and August, meaning no meetings unless a committee needs to call one, and it's mostly my committee that calls summer meetings, public safety, because I have to vote on dispensary and SLA applications for the 30 days. So my committee may meet over the summer, but most committees do not. And the board does not have any general meetings in July and August. You have May, you have June, and you can actually just put them in your phone for the rest of the year.
And so just to add to that, we do have 2 roll calls. So if you missed the first, pay attention to the second, especially if you're on virtual. If you did not hear your name, put in the chat, I'm here. Or if you get an opportunity, raise your hand, let somebody know that you're on. If you weren't heard or your name wasn't called, whatever the reason is, just make sure that you are visible, because if you are not present, then the ladies have to go and look at the video to prove that you are on virtually. So thank you.
Thank you. The only thing I'll add before I go to Q&A, is I want to highlight something that George said. We have 46 board members on our board. We are a very diverse group of people. We have homeowners, renters, drivers, cyclists, walkers, teachers, educators, lawyers, homemakers, veterans. We are an incredibly diverse group of individuals with a diverse group of thought. There will be times at our board where things will get very complicated. They may get very heated. I encourage you all to, when thinking about and approaching conversations, obviously I'm talking about here, but this should apply everywhere. I would implore you to attack the issue and not the person. I think oftentimes, defensively, we may very quickly want to attack a specific person or specific what they say. I would encourage you to, before you comment, before you raise your hand, before you raise a question, please think about how frame your question or thought to the idea that they're sharing and not them as an individual. Um, I think for the most part, this board does a phenomenal job of understanding that and respecting boundaries and attacking the thought and not the individual. I have seen and heard horror stories on other community boards. We don't, knock on wood, we do not have shouting matches. That's not something that happens at our board. And that's not something that we tolerate at our board. We are, again, all volunteers. Everyone, all 46 people, guarantee you care about Sunset Park Terrace. They may go about caring for our community differently, but I think we all have a vested interest in the success of our community. And when we succeed, our community succeeds. And that, I think, is the hallmark of what makes community boards really special. And so I would encourage you to attack the thought and not the individual. And I will stop there and I will open it up to folks if any questions. Go ahead, Rhea.
I just wanted to just mention something that Pat had spoken about attendance. I encourage, I implore that if you are going to be out for a board meeting, that you either call the office and let us know that you're not going to be coming to a board meeting because it's the only allowed, or send us an email informing us, I can't make it to the board meeting today, or whatever the reason. That way we have it on record in case someone calls inquiring about your attendance. So please contact us at the office.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our new board members?
Oh, that's welcome back.
Welcome back. So, at the city council level, our former chair Holden proposed that every community board at the city council, every community board have a veterans committee. And so it was proposed at the New York City Department of Veteran Affairs that every veteran sign up to serve on their local community board. So, I am pending a meeting with the commissioner as well as with Brooklyn Borough President's office, to impose this as a law. So I wanted to propose in advance, that we establish our veterans committee, before it even becomes a law. So I wanted to know if that was something that has to be voted, or if that's something that you can just enact. And I wanted to ensure that disabled persons and seniors will also fold it into that category.
Thank you for the question, Melissa. We used to have a veterans committee on our board, as well as an access and ability committee. Over the last couple of years, we really struggled with attendance on our committees. At one point we had 18, and we felt it was excessive. And so many of them were folded into each other. So veterans, veteran affairs, and access and ability were folded into our education, health, and human services. That being said, if there is a strong desire for a specific committee that does not exist, and there are people willing to volunteer as chair, vice chair, or join the committee, we would be happy to explore that. Committees are they're created in our bylaws by the chair of the board. But if there's interest, we're absolutely happy to.
Okay, I'm interested.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Yeah. So very well prepared group.
In your package, you'll see that you do have your welcome letter. You have your member handbook, you also have the assignment. So when would you like the committee assignments back by the next meeting, the 20th?
Probably June. Usually the, this is already filtered out.
I don't think May 20th and then.
May 20th,
Yeah,
yeah,
next week.
I probably won't make appointments until,
Yeah, but at least you'll get them.
Yeah.
Be able to review them. Do you have them in your package? Do you have them in your package? You can look at your committee assignment.
In all due respect, we are going to be voting for new positions in June. So I would say take your time. If you want to turn in your list now, that's fine. But I would suggest waiting until June.
Submitting it doesn't mean you're gonna be appointed to a committee. So just to be clear, you can submit it May 20th. You will not be appointed till July anyway to serve on the committee for the next term. Correct? Yeah, so if you wanna know your passion, like Melissa, already filled it out, you can submit them. Particularly if it's a committee that you wanna form or does not exist, because that would have to be for consideration.
and the last thing I'll just say, in the member handbook, there's a copy of our CB7 bylaws, which is our constitution. It's pretty dense, but I think it's fascinating and a fun read when maybe you want to try to go to sleep. I encourage you to read it.
Thank
And
you
it's also
all.
in your copy.
Thank you all.
Have a good night, everyone. Meeting adjourned.